Because sometimes, like devices swap over and nobody has media right now anyway, so.
Oh, I've got that thing. I can shut everybody off anyway. Okay, we're good. Should hit this thing right here. Thanks for setting this up, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Sayla has her own channel?
No.
Looks really nice. Can you shut it up? You remember how to do all this stuff? Okay, you just go to classic view. The heck?
What is my point here?
What we need to do is go to classic view. Well, we got to keep it under 2 hours, otherwise we won't be able to convert it to Middle America. Okay, and then make it public. And hit publish.
Right here. Okay.
Johan's iPad. I'll keep that on. Sori's iPhone. Xbox. Rebel Cynthia's iPad. Okay, and then we copy it, put it on Patreon, put it on Facebook, remember?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We have the mic? No. Okay, don't worry about it.
We don't usually use a mic, do we? Yeah. So are we public right now?
Yeah, we're public
okay,
right now.
Well, if anybody's here.
What's up, you guys? We're just
posting everywhere so people know where we're at.
Yeah. Did you forget how to post?
I know, yeah.
There you go. And then, there you go. All right, so that's the best I could do. I think local host is the TV, I think, right?
I have no idea. Okay, so here, and then we go to Facebook.
Yeah.
Holy moly, I'm going so slow.
Put it on the Village, and then Middle America, we should be good to go. We got 9 devices online. Good Lord. Hey, if you guys are here, we can't see you right now.
We should do this first and then make it. No, because then people would go to it and it wouldn't be public for them.
Seduct.
Okay.
I mean, it's just 2 minutes.
Okay, so I'm at Vin and Sori right here.
Yeah. No, go to the Village.
Yeah, how do I get to the Village? You can tell I don't go there very often. In my phone, there's like a quick little easy.
Yeah, there you go, babe.
Button.
You just do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sure now. And then Middle America.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You do that. A small crew. Oh, 2 people want to join the group. Seth and Isaac Garcia. Welcome. Okay, go back to Middle America. Fireside. I think we're taking calls today too. So there we are. All right, good. So that should do it. Now, honey, why do you have 28,000? Can I delete these things? Can I?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I don't know why there's so many open.
Mm-hmm.
About half of them are yours.
Is that us? Nope.
Nope. It's none of those. You already deleted it.
Don't worry, dear listener. We'll be back with you in a second.
It wasn't on Chrome.
Was it on Chrome or was it on
It wasn't. I
Safari?
think it was on Safari.
Nope, it's on Safari. There it is. Okay.
That's what I just said.
All right, we're here. We're here. We're here. We're here.
Ooh, that looks good.
Let us know if you guys can hear us. Yeah, Neil Pearl from I had a brain freeze. Pretty influential band. Guys probably the most influential drummer.
Okay, just tell us because Vin's having trouble remembering, and you know me.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the band, but hey, Zonia in the house. Hey, Zonia, it's your birthday. I just texted you, asked you what you want for your birthday, Zonia. Check your phone.
Legend?
Rush.
Rush?
Rush.
Oh, Rush.
Rush is a band.
Yep.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just said it right as you said it.
Where? Rush. Yeah. So, horrible news about Rush, but good news about Zonia. Well, the drummer died. He was only 67, I think. So he's with the Ein Sof now, inshallah. So
was there a tragedy or?
I don't know.
Silver.
She wants power for her birthday. That would be an interesting world if Zonia was omnipotent and had power. I wonder what would happen.
I feel like it wouldn't be too bad though. But maybe I don't know Zonia well enough.
Text me, you liar. Oh, crap. Well, if it wasn't Zonia that I texted it, who was it? Okay.
No.
No, I did text you. I texted you at 8:13, 8:14. I would put it up to the camera to show everybody, but I'm not going to let our personal conversations go to the masses. Go to the masses. She says she doesn't have a text, though. That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
That happened last time, Zonia, where you wanted
an Apple device.
That happened last time where she was sending me something. She was sending me links and I couldn't find it. He had brain cancer. Damn.
I don't know what that means. I see my name though, so hey, what's up?
Looks fresh. We just saw the movie 1917 yesterday. It's a pretty good movie.
Oh, it was really good. I cried.
Yeah.
I actually held in a lot of crying, but some squeaked out.
Hey, Vingo shirt. This is a Vingo shirt?
Apparently. Uncle Dan, what's up?
Hey, Uncle Dan. I miss watching Uncle Dan's dumbassery.
What, did he stop doing it or did we stop putting it on?
I think he stopped doing it. He quit.
His wife was like, spend time with me, for heaven's sakes.
Oh.
Because of all that, he was putting a lot of time into it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's what his wife said. I'm just saying. Hi, Tina. And Zork, what's up?
Zork, please tell me that we sent you that shirt.
Chip, that's... Oh, man. Neil is with his first wife and daughter now. I wonder if is he on a second wife? I wonder how his second wife would feel about hearing that.
Well, I mean, he is. What's up, Ultimate? Hey, Ultimate Musings!
I'd be like, you better not hang out with her too much.
Yeah, I know.
You'd be like, I'm dying, woman, yeah. I'm dying.
Oh, my God. I put you on that thing to get Zork the shirt.
What are you talking about? Where's his size and his address?
3 or 4 months ago. Remember there was an email?
No.
Shit.
I sent one out to somebody. I thought that was the... Hold on.
Sorry. Well, she's saying she didn't get it, so she didn't get it.
Okay. Well, Zork, send an email right now. VinandSori@gmail.com. I'll do it right now.
We've literally treated Zork the worst of pretty much everybody on the planet. I'm surprised that she's still with us, to be 100% honest with you.
That's okay. I can do it right now. R.I.P. Zork shirt. Stop it, Silver. Stop it right now.
Neil was probably he died Tuesday. Okay. How often do you guys listen to music that you react to outside? All the time. If I say that something is a gym song, or if I say, what's that band? I listened to that song 52 times straight.
There's a couple of them you've done that too.
It was Zoe's favorite song.
I know.
I'm
the Carnival one.
Taker. Yeah, I'm a cruel-witted mind. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed that song. So yeah, we listen to him a lot. If we really like him and we get a really good reaction off of him, like Devour Me Colossus, Nail the Scaris is a massive one that I listen to a ton.
See, what I do is when I hear the song and I'm like, okay, I'm listening to that one again. If I don't listen to it right after I finish, I end up forgetting the name of it. And then I'll be like at the gym or in the shower and I'm like, man, I wish I would have added something to my playlist. Because I don't even have a playlist, actually. Okay, so I'm looking for...
Epstein didn't kill himself. Tons of Cradle of Filth,
I don't think he did either. Nobody... I said that from the beginning, so...
Hey, star that one. Proposal for cooperation.
I don't know. Go ahead. Okay, I don't know how to star.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, this? Click this?
Let's just...
Is that it? Okay.
Look, head. Happy 2020.
Aww.
I can't think clearly right now for some reason. We're in the middle of a recording blitz so that we can catch up with everything. We just want, if we're doing this and we're not doing that, and I get it, but I think connecting with our people is important. What, to Zork?
You are so unbelievable.
What do you mean? What do you mean we're sending two?
Apparently, you just said we're going to send... She's like, no, just to avoid the shipping cost, just send it to Silver. And you were like, nope, I'll ship both. I'll ship one to you and Silver.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so what's Silver's address?
Well, Silver...
I don't have Silver's address.
Silver, text me your address.
God, you are not a capitalist. Allahu Akbar. Okay.
She won, but
then you're like, yeah, now I'll throw it over there too.
Well, Silver, I'm sure we owe Silver something too. What do you mean I'm not? We still make money. I'll be like $2. Technically, we don't make any money because we're spending the money to send it and ship it. But, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's just money. Stop it.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Cradle of Slipknot, Black Sabbath. When can you review an Immolation song again? What new bands have you liked that were community choices? Pretty much all the songs that we've listened to in the last month and a half have been community choices, except for the Numa song. Everything else has been either a Patreon Aligned song or a paid review. So there you are.
Wait. Was it a specific shirt?
I'm pretty sure it's the Sori Secret shirt.
Okay.
But Zork is in here. So Zork, do you want the Till We Die shirt?
No, it's not ready yet.
Till We Die shirt isn't ready yet.
They're dragging their friggin' feet. I'm so angry at Teespring right now. And I keep sending them the information. They're like, well, we weren't able to open the photo, so send it over here. Then I send it over there, and it's one more headache after the next. I'm like, this is completely unprofessional.
Very possible to have a Rush tribute. Very possible. Maybe we can get like some sort of drum solo from him. But apparently, like this guy, where's that cattle decapitation song? It's coming. He's been asking for cattle decapitation for literally about 3 or 4 months.
Did Zork message?
Zork didn't message. Well, maybe they did. I'm not sure because I've been checking out stuff like that.
Okay, Zork, I'm gonna read off your address. Verify if this is correct.
What?
I didn't just get a reaction.
Zork just sent another email. I literally can't believe that she's still on the channel, to be honest. It's unbelievable to me. I feel bad. I was supposed to send him a Happy New Year thing. He beat me to it. That bum.
Oh, it was because she won bingo.
Yeah, but that happened like 6 months ago. What's up, James? Hey, Gibbsy. Gibbsy's in the house.
What's that?
Weather in Maine is decent. We're all sick. And we've all been sick for a very, very, very long time. So, I don't know what's going on. But
I'll tell you what's going on. Nobody practices good sanitation. People coughing everywhere, blowing their nose, touching everything.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Favorite typo negative song? Coney 2020. I remember Coney. Nobody remembers a Coney guy.
Zork, I hate to tell you this, but it does not let us ship outside of the US without putting a phone number. And I've tried putting my own phone number in that spot, but it recognizes that it's not from outside, and so it'll say that I can't send it. So if you don't feel uncomfortable sending it, we promise we won't sell your number or plague you with text messages. If you can send that too, that's part of what probably stopped you the last time.
Yeah,
which one of these is the city?
She just sent the email.
Look.
I'm pretty sure it's...
Would
that.
This go...
Just put that in Google. You better buy some supplements by Alex Jones. Okay, Zork is sending an update. SubhanAllah.
Okay.
That's so weird about Zonia.
Also, Zork, in that, can you put the abbreviation for your province?
I swear, we should send her something else too. So terrible. Raise money by auctioning off.
Would you like to buy her a car as well?
I would, if we could. We need a balance. We need a filthy capitalist, and then we need a socialist.
I know.
It's a good balance.
It's great for relationship building.
What did he say? He said, "Don't be afraid." Remember?
Yeah.
I'm running with that. Don't be afraid. What's poppin', Jay? How you doing, buddy? Give me the number. I'll use it to text support to Joe Biden. That's hilarious. Hey, I think Gershok is here. I haven't talked to Gershok in such a long time. They don't love me anymore. They don't fear me. They don't love me. Gladiator. That's a movie. Friend of mine had a drug problem. He thought he was seeing demons. Is it drugs, demons, or both? He's standing by what he's seen. Well, I think that there is a confluence between the physical world and the spiritual world, and that one is a gateway to the other. And that's why the Greek term for sorcery in the New Testament is not like sorceros or something like that. The Greek term is actually pharmakeia. That's the word that's translated as sorcery in the New Testament, and that's because those ancient cults used to get themselves in a sort of a drug-induced state to have intercourse with spirits. And so I believe your friend wholeheartedly. For all. Are we talking politics? Probably. It depends. I'm not chatting much because I'm unloading groceries and preparing some homemade ramen. Yum.
Are you serious, Zonia?
What,
I wish I was
homemade
at
ramen?
your place.
You like ramen?
I love ramen.
Does that?
And I haven't eaten today, so I feel kind of grumpy because I'm hungry.
Okay, look, there's Zork right there. There's a phone number right there, babe.
Oh, I got it. Good.
Yeah. Why are you doing this during my gym time?
We already did ours.
We already did ours, sir. You know that Carnivore is one of Peter Steele's band. No, we did not know until we looked in the comment section. What's going on, Mr. Conservative or MN Conservative? I'm assuming that's Minnesota Conservative. How you doing? Please send an email to your boy Donald Trump and tell him to stop threatening people over Twitter. That would be great. Somebody's going to get through to the big homie eventually. Inshallah. I'm enjoying the lovely beef with broccoli. Can I have beef and broccoli? Is that part of the thingy?
I would think so. I don't know for sure.
Hello, first time catch you online. What's up? Do not encourage drug-induced schizophrenic delusion that's not healthy or cathartic. I agree. Yes, Anthony, we've heard. Hey, Gershok, you're back. Opinions on the Ricky Gervais Golden Globe speech. I just think that
that was so good.
I just think that him and Dave Chappelle are doing what comedians are supposed to do. Comedians are supposed to poke the status quo in the eye, and it just so happens that all of this, political correct, elitist, condescending, paternalistic Hollywood stuff has gotten to be way out of hand, and so comedians are going to do what comedians do. And so, I thought it was great. You get what you get. My thing has always been, if the shoe fits, wear it. If somebody says something about a group that you're a part of, but you yourself don't fit that paradigm, then I don't get insulted by it. So the only people in Hollywood, I think, that are insulted by it are the people that it's applicable to. So good for him. Enough about Middle America. It's time to represent Outer America.
All right.
Yeah, Bill Burr, Joe Rogan. Yeah, I think that there's a massive. Hey, Bob, bless you too. Favorite album of the decade. That Pain of Salvation, although it's probably not in this decade, but that Pain of Salvation record had a massive impact on me. Tool's Lateralis is probably the best record of the decade for us in our timeline, because we didn't hear Lateralis till a year ago. And so probably I'm going to have to go with Tool's Lateralis. You are mistaken. Very possible. It's very possible that I'm mistaken. Outer America is Puerto Rico, Philippines, Panama, and Cuba. Right. Don't forget Guam. Yeah, Guam too. For sure. Zonia, what do you want for your birthday?
Oh, she wants us to fly over there so she can make me ramen.
Marilyn Manson is feeling lonely. You should read his letter to Rolling Stone after Columbine. I don't understand. What does that have to do with anything, Ben? What does that mean? I got to find a way to get you a PS4, Vin, because you're missing out. I don't know, man. Do you guys pray every night for World War III not to happen? No, but I probably should. I really don't think that World War III, I don't think the circumstances... Look, if you have a lone superpower, it's almost impossible for World War III to happen. That's why when all this Iranian stuff was going down and people were panicking, being a student of history, notice I said student, not an expert, being a student of history, we don't have the circumstances to which a world war could actually happen. So remember, World War II ended with a nuclear bomb. And so there really isn't much you can do after that. We had the doctrine of mutual assured destruction during the Cold War, but we are so ahead of everybody that the doctrine of mutual assured destruction is a non-issue at this point. And so I think a World War III would be extremely difficult to pull off.
Silver, vinandsori@gmail.com, and I will fulfill Vin's promises.
So we got Zork, her stuff.
Done, and I already sent her.
Did we get Silver's stuff?
That's why I just said for Silver to send me her information right now.
Okay, good.
Get them both done.
I thought anything goes. Manson letter in Rolling Stone is equally relevant now. Ben, how is Manson's letter to Rolling Stone post Columbine equal? Do you think Iran will ever admit to shooting down the Ukrainian flight? I think Iran will admit that they did that as soon as Trump admits his role in bringing down that flight. That's what I think. I think both of those are equal possibilities.
So
What?
They missed my birthday the last 32 years in a row. If I go make some nachos, I shouldn't probably eat them in here because it would be too crunchy, right?
No, you can. Do you think that modern technology is making us worse as humans compared to our ancestors?
Do you want some too?
No, not really. No, I don't think we're worse or better. I just think we have accumulated information, which at times can have worse effects or better effects depending on what we do with that information. So what we've done with medicine, I think, is great. And so in that sense, it's better. And what we've done with our technology for war is obviously horrible. We've become much more efficient murderers of each other. So I was up in Maine 6 to 7 times. All I was seeing cottages and seafood shops. The damn beaches are big rocks. What do you guys do up there? Nothing, man. Just listen to metal, go to escape rooms, and hit the gym. It's pretty much all you got. We ain't got Bush in the White House anymore. It'd be over quickly. I mean, if you follow that logic, Trump has a part in the airplane. You could then trace it all the way back to Soleimani in the first place. I agree. But, I mean, look, all Trump had to do after the Soleimani hit, instead of blasting that tirade on Twitter, was get on a video conference with the Iranians and say, look, I know you guys have to respond. I get it. So here's what's going to happen. We have 35 bases in your area. Don't respond in such a way as to make me have to use them. And then say, if you kill any Americans, we're going to have a significant issue. But if you do something crazy and do political theater but nobody gets hurt, then we'll call it Gucci. That's all he had to do. But instead, he gets on Twitter. He threatens 52 of their sites. He says he's going to hit them fast. He's going to hit them hard. And he said, this is your warning already. And that creates an environment of fear and hysteria, which in my mind, it is impossible to extricate those types of tweets from any sort of responsibility to what happened to those poor people a couple days ago. So there you go. Trump should make a song reaction with the Ayatollah. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. That would be a very interesting one. Right, Shouse. Exactly. Oh, here's Zonia and Silver Kyrie. Hold on. I don't know what I want. Please react to this for my birthday. Let me see here. What is this one? What does Zonia want? All right, Zonia. That's because I need to get you onto LTE. Primitive man, commerce. Okay. Zonia, we will react to that. Well, it's too late, Kyrie. I can't think right now. My brain's all muddled for some reason. Zonia, do you want us to react to that song on this forum, or do you want an actual official reaction? Because right after we get off this video, I can do the reaction for you. I'm here doing a political thing. I'm usually here doing music. You ready for a 7X album this year? What's 7? Oh, Avenged Sevenfold? Is that Avenged Sevenfold? Do you think we are safe for now with the missile crisis thing past us? Yeah, like I said, if you're talking the missile crisis, you're talking about the Iranians. I never thought that we were in crisis. I don't think Americans realize the gap between us and the rest of the planet Earth in regard to military power. Nobody is going to attack us domestically. The only people that did attack us domestically were Salafist Sunni terrorists who believe that their death is going to earn them a golden ticket on Judgment Day. There are no state actors who want any kind of smoke with the United States. So I knew that nothing was going to happen. I knew that World War III wasn't coming. I knew all that. I mean, we're an empire. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Vin, why don't you ever address Iran's terrorist attacks towards Israel when discussing the U.S.-Iran thing? Why don't you acknowledge the U.S. occupancy since 1958 and only discuss the past 10 years? Well, Iran's terrorist attacks toward the Israelis are not our business. So I don't need to address that because those are the Israelis. The Israelis need to handle their own business if they have an issue with Iran. As far as 1958 ongoing goes, look, my point about Iran is simply to say that both of us are not good actors in the region, but we are, and I didn't talk about the last 10 years, I talked about the last 20 years. And between Iranian agitation and American agitation in the last 20 years, there's no contest. We are a much more disruptive force in the Middle East than the Iranians are, by times a million, and I mean that literally. So that's why. I have no interest in talking about the Iranians and the Israelis. It's not our conflict. Whoa! Akura, send us an email. Any way we can support you, we will do that for you. Okay? Akura Bear, send us an email and ask us anything, and we'll support you the best we can. China is more powerful than the U.S. now weapon-wise. No, they're not. They're not. No, they're not. Are you taking calls? Soon. Yeah, we do have to do politics. Look at the name of the stream is Trump, Iran, Tragedy, and Metal. So everything is open. Once again, we had no beef with Iran until they took hostages in 1979. There are elements in our country that are fomenting at the mouth for war with Iran. That is a fact. That's true. And you know, as much as I've criticized Trump, he's shown restraint in the sense of not listening to the crazy neocons that want him to go and go to war with Iran for whatever reason they have. So on that one, good, but he's not doing good enough. He has got to tone down the rhetoric on his tweets, and he's got to reach out to these people and talk to them instead of blasting them on Twitter. Okay. Akura, send me an email, and we'll see about that PS4, huh? As a Christian, how can you say Israel is not our problem? Paul, I don't mean to be trite, but Israel is not our problem. What does me being a Christian have to do with unilaterally supporting the Israelis? The Israelis are grown men and women who can handle their own business. I mean, we're giving them billions of dollars a year, and what has happened to them in the last 20 years that says that they need any help from us? We don't need to be meddling in their affairs, and they don't need to meddle in our affairs. Aloha Snack Bar. Yeah. Yeah. Right, Jernwind. And again, Trump said himself, we spent $2 trillion on our military. What is your take on the Virginia Second Amendment? Yeah, I try to explain to people outside of America, Americans' relationships to guns, and they don't get it. And so I understand the Second Amendment sanctuary stuff, and that's going to pop up all over the place. You are not... Any sort of government-imposed gun grab is going to activate This is the reason we needed the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is not about hunting or self-defense. It's primarily about destroying tyrannical governments. And so you're playing right into that narrative. So somebody's going to have to come up with a more creative solution to solve this gun problem. But a gun grab is not the way to solve that problem, because even Democrats, even those on the left who they're not going to want to give up their guns either. So it's just not going to happen. What's a 22 song? Type 22 for R.I.P. Neil. Okay. Where do we hail from? I hail from Kingston, Jamaica. And Sori hails from Maine, I pretty think. How do I email you? I'm on mobile. Where do I find your email? It's vidandsori@gmail.com. Akura Bear. It's all you do. vidandsori@gmail.com. I saw an Indian news source that says Iran was claiming their people that they killed 80 American terrorists in the missile strike that we said we had 0 casualties. Yeah, I blame gravity. I mean, of course the Iranians are going to do that. Let them do it. That's fine. What's up, Keith? What's up, Becky? Family's from Indiana. I live in Georgia. I hope it doesn't result in loss of life. I don't think it has to. It's quite amusing that you think the U.S. is more powerful than China. Okay. All right. No comment. We'll see. Is Daniel Gildenlau a better rapper than Biggie? No. Nobody's a better rapper than Biggie. Nobody. Nobody's better than the Notorious B.I.G. He's the greatest of all time, in my opinion. I hate the fact that people expect Christians to blindly support Israel as if they never get it wrong. Right, XBM. I agree. Do you think it's a huge issue that some of our countrymen think that a war with Iran would be a cakewalk like Iraq? Well, Iraq wasn't a cakewalk if you value human life. We've killed 250,000 Iraqi civilians. So how that could be construed as a cakewalk is very strange to me. Would we win a war with Iran? Yeah, we would win a war with any country on the planet. The issue is how much do you value human life? So, look, there are elements in Iran that want the Iranian government overthrown. And so if we genuinely wanted to create a war with Iran, you would send in, you would do some version of Operation Iraqi Freedom combined with the lessons you learned in the Arab Spring. You'd send a CIA Omega team in there with some Green Berets to train the resistance forces, and then you go in there and overthrow them if you're smart. So the Iranians have been, the Iranians kicked off the Arab Spring. The assassination of Neda was a pretty seminal moment, but the oppression is just overpowering, and their penchant for brutality against their citizens is clear. But I don't think it would be a cakewalk. But they're different people with different traditions and things of that nature. Right. 260K is a low estimate. It's over 1 million. I agree, Nathan. It's just, I'm just saying that so that I could circumvent that's an exaggeration, yada, 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 yada stuff. But I agree with you. What's your stance on Five Finger Death Punch? We saw them live. They're very, very good live, and they speak about serious issues. So, much love to them. Then the whole Israelis' issues aren't our issues thing again seems kind of disingenuous. What is the purpose of allied nations? I'd hope our allies would back us in conflict too. Yeah, Ben, but that doesn't mean that we are bound to get ourselves mixed up in everybody's conflict all the time. And again, what have the Iranians actually done to the Israelis? What have they actually done to harm the Israeli state? We are not agents of Israel. So there's been a lot of back and forth between the Israelis and their neighbors. And so there's no necessity for me to talk about it. I'm an American first and foremost, and my loyalty is to America. So people probably gave a dislike to the stream because there's a political thingy at the beginning. A lot of people don't want to talk about politics, and I understand that. That's okay. To me, I don't really make a distinction between politics and life. A lot of the classic Metallica songs are political songs. Disposable Heroes, One, what do you call that? My favorite one, For Whom the Bell Tolls. I mean, all of those can be construed as political songs. So I don't divide up life, politics, religion, da-da-da-da. All of it is just part of the human experience to me. But some people don't like the political side of the human experience, and that's okay. Yes, we are planning on doing the We Are Not Your Kind album review. How do you think the Iran deal will turn out that Trump was talking about? Well, I think if we actually go forward with punishing sanctions on the Iranians, I don't think that deal is going to go very well. U.S. citizens are living in a bubble by the sounds of it. Well, I agree with that, HQ video dude, but I do not agree with the idea that the Chinese are anywhere near us militarily. They're just not. Don't tread on me, Metallica, political song, right? Nas had a better flow than Biggie. Nas is a GOAT. No, I don't think so. Our country is run by Christian fundamentalists who thinks we should be. Well, I don't know if we're run by Christian fundamentalists who think we should be agents of Israel, but they very much have an influential voice. Right now, we're watching a documentary called The Family, which is really, really interesting. A certain brand of evangelicalism having massive influence in American politics for generations. It's pretty crazy stuff. Hey, Disabled Vet, much love to you, my guy. Much love to you. What does metal have to do with politics? Also, love the reaction to Megadeth. Peace sells. Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Well, reset button. I've been seeing what you've been saying about Israel. If you're trying to make a correlation between Israel and the surrounding nations and America and the surrounding nations, obviously the analogy breaks down. We are not surrounded by enemies. The Canadians and the Mexicans are not our enemies. Their leadership have not said death to America and we're going to drive the Americans into the Atlantic Ocean and yada, yada, yada. So to make that sort of correlation is ridiculous. Unless you've got data that can show us that the Mexican government has declared war on us on a multitude of occasions, sent suicide bombers to blow us up, etc., etc. So that analogy makes no sense to me. What's up, Sarah Jade? You think China is doing F all over there not developing weapons? You're nuts. No, I think every nation on the planet is trying to develop weapons. If they've got the money for it. We just have more money than anybody else, and we just spent $2 trillion on our military. And, I'm not really going to get into it, but I'm not saying that it would be a cakewalk and that a lot of us wouldn't die. I'm just saying it would not be close. There's a reason that they're doing all this cyber stuff and cyber theft from us, because that's the best way they can fight us. They can't really deal with us on a military level. If they could, they would. I'll say it that way. What's up, Mao? Or Moo Ow Meow? Thoughts on Andrew Yang? Andrew Yang, to me, he's sort of an evolving figure. I think it was Ben or I forgot who initially introduced Yang to me, and I didn't really take him that seriously, but he's starting to grow on a lot of people, and people are starting to hear what he has to say. He's been quiet, I think, in regard to this recent dust up with, he doesn't seem to be very cognizant of what's happening in the world. It seems that he's got a ZBI thing and all that, and that's great. I just don't think he's presidential in the sense that that I have the confidence that he'd be able to navigate these very complex issues. Whereas Tulsi, that's the appeal for me with Tulsi, for sure. Come on, Vin. How far is China behind the U.S. money-wise? We are galaxies ahead of them. They're supposed to be the next superpower. I just think we're going to agree to disagree. I'm not worried about the Chinese. I'm just not worried about them. Why are USA in war all the time? No one has attacked you. That's because we're an empire. We're a global empire. And so when you go to take up people's resources and things of that nature, you have to fight them for it. Just the facts. All right. The Chinese, man. Yeah, we should be afraid of the Chinese. Okay. All right. All right, guys. All right. Yeah, most war is about taking people's resources. Most war is about, of course, XBM. Look, I'm not gonna get into it. HQ video dude, I'm just not gonna get into it. We're just not gonna agree on it. I'm not worried about China at all. Afraid of the Chinese because they're allied with Russia. Russia has a GDP of California. Let's just talk about something else. Ice Cube, Kendrick, literally any Chicago rapper, Biggie. No. Ice Cube is not on Biggie's level. No. No, they don't. HQ, they don't. Yeah, nobody can mess with us right now, Robert, but I think if we learn from the Roman situation, they went out and continuously tried to expand. They spread their military thin, and the Gauls were able to get them. Now, because of technology, there's ways to compensate for that, but if you try to take over the entire planet Earth, eventually there's going to be chinks in your armor and weaknesses. Well, Gershok, you can call in. You can call in for whatever. I mean, it's cool. Go for it. What's up, Steve Morrison? Cersei Lannister 2020. I will never forgive the author or whoever was responsible for Game of Thrones. That was the worst conclusion to the best show of all time. It was the absolute worst. I will never forgive them for that, especially the way they had Cersei go out. That literally, if I saw, I am very, 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 very upset about that for sure. Do you believe that if the U.S. were to pull away from the Middle East, that China and Russia's influence would increase substantially? Hold on, I'm talking to my buddy X. X in the house.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Long time no chat, big homie. Talk to me.
I know, yeah. You sound excited.
What's up, bruh?
Nothing much. I mean, like literally nothing much. I'm just kind of editing the song we're trying to release, and this is like the most painstaking part of any project.
I bet.
So I just figured if I called in, like, that's something I can do while I'm doing this sort of thing too.
I bet. So what's up, bruh? What are we talking about?
Oh, I was interested to ask, like, I guess, you know, you can choose to answer this or not. Who are you sort of leaning to on the campaigning so far?
Oh, I'm a Tulsi guy. I'm very, very big on Tulsi Gabbard. I think she appeals to. She actually goes to Fox News and talks to these people instead of the sectarian right wingers of the enemy stuff. I love her foreign policy. I actually believe her when she said she wants us to get out of these regime change wars. If you look at what just happened, what we all experienced in the last week, foreign policy is one of those things where it's like, if nothing is happening, people don't think it's important. But then when something does happen, it becomes all consuming. And so, go ahead.
Like what's been happening recently, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, nobody cared about Soleimani 2 weeks ago, bruh. Most Americans had no idea who he was, right? And then...
Yeah, can you imagine going back 2 weeks ago and telling people about what happens next week?
Right. Exactly. And so, getting us out of... And then, you know, if you think about... I think there's like a $6 trillion price tag for the wars that we've been waging since, 2001. If you could reimagine America 20 years ago, no war with Iraq, us not being in Niger and all these other places, take that $6 trillion and put it into healthcare. What does America look like today, right? And so there is a correlation between foreign policy and domestic policy, but they've been so extricated in the minds of the average American that I think you need somebody to kind of put that math on the table, and I think Tulsi does a great job at that. So I'm a big fan of Tulsi. My dream ticket would be...
kind of in the... You're in the foreign policy sphere of things, basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have obviously had experiences in my life that make foreign policy very important to me. But I also think, foreign policy is massive for me, as well as our healthcare. Healthcare is a massive, massive issue for me. And I don't think that the Republicans are right on either one of those major topics. I just don't think they are.
I got to tell you, like, having recently hit the age of 26, well, not super recently, but I got to the point where I had to, like, actually deal with the healthcare firsthand for the first time in my life. It is a real pain in the ass, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it is. It is. And... we got folks in our country dying. And again, I always talk about needless death. Nobody needs to die because they can't afford insulin, And so I think the Republicans are wrong on this whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps, yada, yada, yada response to healthcare. I think is a cruel response. And I think that, Tulsi, my dream ticket would be Bernie, because he's going to take care of our health care. Tulsi as either vice or secretary of state. She's going to get us out of these wars. And then you get Andrew Yang and just tell him, look, man, experiment, do something with this. Because he's Andrew Yang, to me, is kind of like a guy that jumped in a time machine from 40 years in the future. And, like, he's a guy that especially when we talk about the Chinese, like, he's a guy that could really bring us into the next century if he had some significant money and power. So that would be the ultimate ticket for me, and I think it would be an undefeatable ticket. And I think that the DNC is going to do everything in their power to make that not happen.
Yeah, well, at the very least, we don't got Hillary running again.
Bless God.
No kidding.
Bless God. Yeah. So I think that
I would say Bernie for me is like a good second place. I never really was like, Bernie is my man from the very beginning. It was just when it got to the primaries, like he was the most obvious choice for me in that scenario.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily 100% on him now, but if that ever happened again, then sure, I would go with that.
Yeah. Who are you looking at, if you don't mind?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's not like I was setting this up or anything. I'm kind of leaning. Oh my God, there's smoke going off again.
Well, I'm trying to type.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear that.
A little bit, but go ahead.
So the person I'm kind of looking at right now is honestly Bloomberg.
Really?
Still working on looking into what he does, but so far he's the least disagreeable thing on the sort of the campaigning so far. He's like right middle of the road stuff, but he takes the climate change stuff seriously for once.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing that, I just, being in the age that I'm at and in the position I'm at generationally speaking, it's kind of a thing where I don't know how long it's going to take until anybody really treats global warming as like a first priority to everything else.
Fair point.
It's like, it's not necessarily his first thing on the list either, but, to say I'm not so left that I would, back up Bernie in a heartbeat, but I'm not necessarily leaning right that far either.
Yeah, it's I'm actually a little bit surprised at the Bloomberg thing from you, but I kind of get it. I kind of see where you're coming from. I just don't think Bloomberg would be able to beat Trump because Bloomberg is sort of a billionaire himself, and Trump's whole thing is populism, and I don't think that Bloomberg would be able to successfully rally the Democrats to see him as the populist alternative to Trump, whereas I think Bernie would be able to. Although Bernie himself is a millionaire, but the difference between a million and billion is pretty significant.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is that you have to look at an election in several different ways. For me, it's just that ideologically speaking, I have a lot more in common with Bloomberg's side of things, but also, there's the fact that you also have to vote for who you think is going to do something in the political race. Is if you look at it like a game, in a sense, because in the end, eventually, it basically just becomes a game.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Bloomberg has a little bit too much in common with Trump for him to sort of create an actual all-out battle about it, and that's kind of unfortunately what ends up winning in the case. Okay, yeah, Zonia said I'm canceled. I'm sorry about that, Zonia. I guess I'm going to have to Fortnite into Wood Corpse and then World War III.
Yeah. Well, look, I think the DNC would celebrate if Bloomberg got the nomination, and I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, we'll see. Bloomberg kind of came out of nowhere, and I am not discounting another Hillary run at the last second. I really am not. I mean, I just think she's one of those people where it's like, you ever see those movies where the guy or the girl just has this sort of Achilles heel and they can't get over it? It just seems to me that
you're relating this to Hillary in some way.
Huh?
You're relating this to Hillary?
Hillary, in the sense that she the lust for power and the dream of her being the first woman president. Mm-hmm. I think even though it would be horribly destructive to the party, I think it's possible that she would still run.
Well, she just thought that she didn't have to do anything. She just thought it was her turn.
Yeah.
Like, she did nothing to really earn that position.
Well,
I don't even know if I would say that.
Yeah, I feel like she definitely earned it in the sense of, she was a secretary.
Well, in the long run or in the 2016 election?
Well, look, man.
Yeah.
Hillary had
because she skipped a lot of places that was like, what?
What do you mean?
Like where she wouldn't go speak at them because she thought she had them in the bag.
Oh yeah, she thought she had it in the bag, but she had the horrible misfortune of running into two political anomalies in the same generation. Obama was a crazy political anomaly, and so was Trump. And if it was any other situation, she would have easily won in both cases, but she just ran into two very, in both cases, she was obviously the most qualified as far as the resume goes. I'm sure you would agree with that.
I don't know about that.
Is this my buddy?
Hey, T-Waw's in the house. She was definitely more qualified than Obama just on the resume, right?
I don't think the fact that she was qualified really means that she was a good pick, though.
Oh, I'm agreeing with you. You're right about that.
I mean, if this is based on qualification, like, that's a very slippery slope, and I'm not about to go down that route. It's just to say that Hillary, at the very least, like, she could have done a little bit more in her campaigning to say why you should even vote for her in the first place. All it was is that I'm not Trump.
Yeah.
That's why you vote
she
for
was.
me. And well,
the derangement
now,
had
if
started.
you're president, you have to ask the question, well, what are you going to do now?
Right.
And there was like not a lot of good answers involved in that answer at all. It was kind of just going to splinter off into two equally extreme directions, regardless who won 2016.
Yep. No, you're right about that. Her strategy was pretty crazy. Which was, I'm not Trump.
Yeah.
Trump is terrible. He's horrible. He has a bad temperament. And all of these things were things that we all knew already.
We're talking to X from Gershok.
The man's been on, there's not been a conscious moment when I didn't know who Donald Trump was ever since I came to this country. So, like, things...
He didn't even have to do any campaigning. He had everybody, like, talking for him for free all the time, 24 hours around the clock.
Correct. Trump, I'll tell you what, for all the criticisms, he was very brilliant about the way that he manipulated social media. And,
You don't give him that much credit.
I do.
He didn't do a damn thing.
No, I disagree, my guy.
Wait.
Look, Trump...
Did he say you would do the same thing? What did he say? What was the last thing you said?
Him being a meme wasn't his doing. It was just the fact that he knew exactly what makes headlines, and he had to put very little effort to get a lot farther.
Yeah, how's that different?
That's my point.
Yeah.
Is that he look, man.
My point is that's not him being brilliant. That's him just, sort of by trial and error doing what he got him where he is in the first place.
Well, look, bro. I mean,
that's all he knows.
He
knows how to do.
That's fine. That's fine, but he used it to great effect. I mean, you say what you want, but he used it to great effect.
Mm-hmm.
You would have...
Not necessarily to say, though, that him winning was because he had this all planned out. Like, this is the whole Trump playing 5D chess argument again.
Well, look, Trump keeps winning in these situations, right? And the people that hate him don't want to give him credit. And here's my thing. My thing is, if you do not recognize the capabilities of your enemy, you're never going to defeat them. So it's either he's doing some of this stuff on purpose or he's just the luckiest individual of all time since 2016. And
he knew a little bit of what he was doing. I don't think he knows quite as much as people give him credit for. Like, people like to compare him to Hitler. I don't think people really realize just how much more educated Hitler was compared to Trump on what he was doing.
No, I don't think that Trump is ever going to be a Mensa candidate. But there's something to be said about understanding human nature, understanding your seats in Laban, and understanding the current zeitgeist. And Trump clearly, I mean, even Obama said it. He said, "Well, I must have been out of touch," and obviously.
Hold on. Since you mentioned that, you were mentioning how like Hillary was more qualified than Trump, but you have to admit, Hillary did not spot that particular thing you're talking about in Trump, is knowing how he operates. She didn't understand that at all. But you know who did understand that? Bernie. Bernie 100% knew what was going on, and he tried to stop it.
Oh, you. Why do you think that I rail so much against the DNC? I blame the DNC for putting us in this situation because I'm fully convinced that Bernie would have beaten Trump. Keep in mind, the same people that voted for Trump in 2016 were the same people that voted for Obama in that blue wall. So they did not want to. They didn't want to flip red. But when you put a corporatist like Hillary in their face and say, "Hey, here's who you need to vote for," then you've got Hillary saying we're going to kill coal and all this other nonsense. Then But if you would have had Bernie in there in 2016, 100%, he would have won. I don't know if Bernie's going to win this year because of how the economy is doing. Quite frankly.
Okay, so I want to address one of the comments in the stream saying that Bernie would have back then. Yes, not so much now. Here's the thing about that. We don't really know that yet. It's still kind of early. The reason why back then is because once the candidates were sort of whittling down to a select few, Bernie had what it took to actually play the game correctly. He may not ideologically match everybody's MO. However, what he did differently from Hillary is that not only did he completely denounce Trump in every step of the way, but he gave his own solution as sort of an alternative to whatever Trump was talking about. He gave people a reason to vote for him, and that's something Hillary just for some reason did not do.
Well,
by all intents and purposes, he should have been on the poll, but I guess just got backstabbed by his own platform, and whoops, that was a mistake.
Well, that's the thing, is that the DNC from the beginning was trying to king make or queen make Hillary. They assumed that hey, we got the first black president, now we're gonna have the first woman president.
Yeah.
And they had it from the beginning that they were gonna go with Hillary, not realizing the current zeitgeist. 2008 hurt all of us really, really badly. It created the sort of gap that the Occupy Wall Street folks were talking about. Became so clear after 2008, where the banks got all these bailouts, but regular Americans lost their houses and their jobs.
Yeah.
And we really didn't get to see Obama fix that problem at the emotional, visceral level. And Bernie was speaking directly into it. He was in that sweet spot. And like I said, my introduction to Bernie was the Killer Mike interview. And so Bernie, and then you start doing research into Bernie and you see that he was on our side in the 60s and all the rest of it. So this is a guy who was genuine and had been basically preaching the same gospel for 20, 30, 40 years, right? And the DNC basically said, nah, we're going to tell the people what they need. And they basically had a gamble that said, there's no way in the world these people are going to vote for Trump over Hillary. Well, they were wrong.
I do think that Bernie would have a harder time right now, though, because before Trump hadn't done everything that he's done. Trump has made a lot of necessary changes that I think that even people that don't like him appreciate those changes. So I think that Bernie would have a lot harder time beating Trump now because everybody before was talking about what a joke that Trump was. And then Trump got in and beat Hillary, which to me doesn't really seem like it's that, difficult to do. But then now that he's in and I think he's proved himself not to be a bumbling idiot, but that he has gotten things accomplished. I know you're not completely satisfied with him as a president, obviously.
Well, what has he gotten accomplished?
Well, our jobs have gotten much better. He's taken care of in my opinion, the shame that was brought on our country because Obama went around bowing to everybody all over the place.
Right, he took
and Obama said, "Don't cross this line or else," and then they crossed the line and we did nothing.
Right, so he took care of the shame by threatening the Iranians.
Yes,
he's going to bomb 52
that.
sites.
Yep.
And now we've got 176 bodies strewn all over Iran.
I understand that. Nope, I didn't say
no
big deal. But I do think that it is good that he has made some stands in our country. This is America. And I think that...
What does that mean, this is America?
This is America to means don't mess with us. But I don't think that we should be over there messing with other people, although we are.
Okay, what country messed with us during the Obama administration?
I don't know the details of what happened, but when he said don't cross this line and they crossed that line, they shouldn't have done that. And then if he wasn't planning on doing something, he should have never said it.
Okay, when I say mess with us, here's what I mean, right?
Nobody can mess with us. Is that what you're
So
driving
why
at?
do we have to be insecure and talk shit on Twitter? Why do we have to do that? People end up dead when that happens. See, this is what I don't understand about
I see what you're saying.
Talk shit on Twitter.
What?
You said people end up dead when people talk shit on Twitter.
No, people end up dead when Trump talks shit. That's a fact. And so
when Trump talks shit on Twitter, I was gonna say someone did bring this up a bit, and I have to agree. They're saying like they've heard this conversation ad infinitum at this point, and I will have to say I'll take responsibility on that for bringing up Hillary into the conversation. I want to sort of bring this to present day though, sort of overarch the whole thing.
What's this?
Hold on.
Type 33 if it's back.
Okay, so I'm gonna disable my computer from the stream.
Okay, this one's off now.
Yeah, but it's still okay. You took it offline.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're back. Hold on. This happens every time stuff starts getting really, really good.
Yep.
Stand by.
Well, I'm sorry. I was actually I was about to sort of change the subject again, but I don't get to hear you talk that much in these things. So I'm like, I don't want to interrupt. Sorry.
You man, smash the patriarchy. All right, go ahead.
All right, type 33 in chat if you can hear us.
Yeah, I think everybody's back on now.
You should say type Gershock. Type Gershock.
I love how Vin puts the blame 100% in Trump's corner. Glenn, I did not blame Trump 100%. I specifically said in my video that only God knows the percentage to which Trump is responsible.
All right.
But he is responsible to some degree, for sure. Go ahead, Gershock.
All right. So, sort of to keep it from trailing on backwards in time without any rhyme or reason, I was going to sort of pitch this as the thing, is that people saying Bernie had a better chance in 2016 than he probably does now. I would say that is arguable. Mainly for my reason is I've dropped my hot take about being pro-Bloomberg, of course, and I'm going to keep dropping that one until he's off the bill. The thing is, politics is kind of one of two things. It's one, the person that you most agree with, and it's two, the swinging of the pendulum, in the sense that I think the only thing that's going to stop the pendulum from swinging at this point is basically a World War III level event where you've got, for the longest time, America was seen as the quintessential neutral country for some reason. Now though, the pendulum just swinging left to right ever so slightly ever since Kennedy and Nixon, for instance, that now it's just swinging fully uncontrollably, and the only way anybody really gets elected is when they push the pendulum so far in the opposite direction that it actually breaks through and gets them somewhere. You don't necessarily swing the pendulum by being middle of the road or independent or kind of selective in whatever ideologies that you have or your policies. So really the people who actually back up the candidates at the very end are the ones who, you have to choose from one of the two biggest extremes that you can. And you just have to hope that, one of them isn't going to nuke the planet. So that's the thing that kind of set Bernie apart from a lot of other candidates, is that he had cojones. He had it in him to just straight up say if I'm going to have the power to go left, I'm going to go full fucking left.
Yeah.
And that's my take on it. We haven't seen that happen yet, but when it gets closer to primaries, you'll see if Bernie still has a chance. He still might. Yeah.
No, I think. Well, I think it depends on who his running mate is. I think if he gets Tulsi, I think he's got a really, really good chance, because they could present it as Bernie saying, "I'll take care of the domestic side with healthcare, and Tulsi can take care of the foreign policy stuff." Right? So I definitely believe that he could win. I just don't think it's gonna. To me, in 2016, he was a no doubter. Right? I don't think Trump would have stood a chance against Bernie.
No, I don't think so either.
But this year, I think it would be neck and neck and right to the very end of the
I disagree. I think that Trump is going to win by a landslide.
Well, I think Trump is going to win by a landslide because the DNC will not allow Bernie to be the nominee.
Even if Bernie was up there, I still think it.
I don't know.
I think we've seen what it is to have a president who's like, ugh, and Bernie is kind of more like mellow grandfatherish, and I think that we could appreciate that when, before, but I think you'd be surprised.
This whole thing about this socialism stuff. Guys, when you have a fire at your house and you call the fire department, that's a form of socialism. I mean...
Labor Day is a form of socialism.
Say again?
Labor Day is a form of socialism.
Correct.
Why is that?
So you better go into work on Labor Day if you don't believe in socialism.
It's mind-boggling to me, Americans. It's good points though, Gershak. You never cease to amaze. I would not have in any way, shape, or form thought you would have talked about Bloomberg at all. That's pretty crazy.
Hey, that's for right now. Like, I haven't really heard what his beliefs are on the student debt, on college loans, on, healthcare in particular. I'm sure that stuff's all out there, but I'm just sort of slowly getting my bearing. And so far, there's more that I disagree with Bernie than I do with Bloomberg is the main thing. But, I'm not quite sure yet. So I'm still kind of on the fence, but at the current moment, it's leaning Bloomberg for me.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I said, I don't know if he would end up on the ballot because I don't think he swings the pendulum quite as hard as Bernie.
Right. Well, that's my issue is that he's basically another Donald Trump. I mean, I've already seen leftists upset about Bloomberg being able to, single-handedly have all these ads and things like that, not from donations, but from his own purse because he's a billionaire. So I've already that's the strange thing about what's happening with the left right now is there's sort of this resentment toward economically successful people. And that doesn't work if you're a billionaire like Bloomberg. I just don't see how he's going to be able to gin up the support in order to do that.
Well, I think, people kind of have this idea that billionaire automatically equals Republican. And right. I mean, that's kind of, Bloomberg is proving that to not be true. So the thing is that if people believe in some of what Trump says enough to vote for some guy who will actually commit treason and jury fraud, then maybe someone like Bloomberg is what we need in order to get them to, take their stance that they agree with, but also not doom the country.
Yeah. Well, I think the response is going to be, what do you mean doom the country? We've got the best economy in years. We just added 145,000 jobs in December, yada, yada, yada. Right? So, I don't know. But
the thing is that, I think the real battle that ends up happening every time is basically Keynesian versus trickle down. And that's kind of what the big pendulum swing is for me, is that it never seems to land in the middle of that. It's always you got one or the other. Those are your two choices.
Yep. I'm with you. I think the real solution here, honestly, is an actual third party. And I think that's another mistake that I think Bernie had this year was, he kowtowed to the DNC when he supported Hillary. And what he should have done, in my opinion, right from the gate would be to have because he would have the strength to have a legitimate third party. I really believe he would have. And he lost. He disillusioned a lot of people when he started marching in line with the DNC. He really did, and I think that was a tactical error. So I don't know.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm kind of getting lost in the comments right now. It turned into a shit show.
Well, anytime you talk about that's going to happen. But
this is the first time I've called in and it's been a shit show like this. It's usually because you and I usually just exchange really cold takes, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time you've really deep dived into your political views on stuff. So there you go. Welcome.
I felt that I was going to stop calling in if I had nothing to really, cause a pot stir to happen in the first place. I'm not necessarily looking to do that, but I just feel like, there's so many more interesting calls you could have. And, if I'm setting the example for everyone else, then it's going to be kind of boring from there on. So I just want more. I want more of this in the firesides if we get that.
I'm with you. I'm with you 110%. It was a good call, my guy.
So you're with me 110%. So you're going for Bloomberg too, right?
No, hell no, I'm not going for that.
Got you, Vin. No, you said it.
He's more the same, man. I can't do it. I honestly don't see any functional difference between voting for him and Trump.
Nope. Siri heard everything you said. You basically submitted your ballot for Bloomberg.
All right, man. Salam lech.
All right, yeah. Anyway, look forward to Saint Anger dropping sometime in the next 2 months.
Bro, we are doing a cover week. So I already have you guys slotted for that.
Oh, there you
yeah.
go.
In the meantime, I have to do all the edits on it. And God damn it, this song is such a pain in the ass to edit.
I can't wait. Ever since you told me about it, man, I've been waiting for it. So hurry up.
Anyway, yeah. So take care, guys. Also, don't forget, buy our shirts.
Buy their
shirts.
Losers. All right, yo. Good on him. Good on him.
That's true. I'll advertise for them. I'll put a Gershok shirt. You can see what they look like.
Yeah, this whole thing about socialism. I mean, look, man, you've got a military. It's not a private army. The military is funded by regular people, right? And we spent literally trillions of dollars in an illegal war and killed a bunch of innocent people and killed a bunch of American soldiers and destroyed the minds of many hundreds of thousands of them. And all I'm saying is, what would America look like if we took that $6 to $8 trillion and didn't invest it in jihad, but invested it in our own people and healthcare and student loans? What would America look like today? That's what I'm saying. And this whole knee-jerk reaction of socialism. Well, why aren't they saying socialism? We spent $6 trillion on war. I don't understand this stuff. Why are people okay with their tax dollars going to the tunes of trillions to kill people that have caused no direct harm to us? But we don't want to spend those trillions on our own folks, our own country, men and women. We don't want to spend the money on that, for healthcare or for education. I don't get it. I think the Republicans have successfully brainwashed people to believe that what Bernie and the rest of us are talking about is like some sort of giant boogeyman. It's unbelievable.
Here's one of the Gershok shirts. You're welcome to purchase one. Where do they get that?
Gershok.com. I don't know. We don't spend enough money on military. It's not nearly as good as it should be. Okay. Trump just got $750 billion approved. That's not enough. You just talked about how we spent $2 trillion on our military. That's not enough.
Yeah, we've listened to Jordan Peterson. We like his stuff.
I do not understand that.
I'm madly in anger with you.
Yeah, Alec is hilarious. Hillary Clinton, Kamala 2020. Yeah, we'll all be in jail and dead. Those people could have caused harm. Iran targets Israel, costs America money because America pumps money and arms into Israel. Right. How about we stop pumping arms into Israel and stop unilaterally supporting them and let those grown men and women handle their own business in the Middle East? How about that? Oh, here's Glenn telling me I take my freedom for granted. Glenn, you have no idea what you're talking about, bro. You have no idea what you're talking about. I don't take my freedom for granted. But tell me, Glenn, how more free were we since we invaded Iraq? Were the Iraqis posing a threat to our freedom? Was little Hamza over there in Kirkuk? Was he who we blew to smithereens? Was he a threat to your freedom? What are you talking about? Unbelievable.
So much talk about what healthcare. So much talk about what healthcare for all will cost. If the U.S. is the greatest and richest ever, then why can't you afford it? Because people don't want to. Don't want to afford that. When they said that there was like what was the number of how much was spent on war and military and stuff. What was that number? It's like 2 trillion or something like that.
Yeah.
What was it?
Well, yeah. Trump just came out 2 days ago, said we spent $2 trillion on our military.
Okay, so that's what it was.
The Democrats,
were like, oh my God.
Pelosi and her crew just approved the $750 billion military budget, yada, yada, yada. You know, like, it's unbelievable. Yes, I am mad. I'm mad about this idea that everything we do, militarily speaking, is for our freedom, and that if you disagree with sending men and women into harm's way to harm innocent people, that you all of a sudden don't care. Freedom isn't free. Who is attacking us? Which country is attacking us? And when I say us, I mean us domestically. Mm-hmm. Who is a threat domestically to the United States of America that we've gone after in the last 20 years? Mm-hmm. What is going on in Niger? What's going on in Yemen? Why are we over there? Why did we take sides with the Saudis, go into Yemen and go on kill capture missions for people that the Saudis don't like? Killed a 9-year-old girl. We're taking completely Anwar al-Awlaki's whole damn family. We're putting them all in the grave. But I'm supposed to say that all of this is for our freedom. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Somebody said something about healthcare for all is $25+ trillion. How can anybody even know what the number is when the prices for everything is so inflated? Like when you go to get stuff and your meds are up, what is the inflation? Like some of it was like 700% or something.
Hey, Paul, the Bible...
That's just crazy. That's how can you know what the numbers are? If things were actually reasonable and they made a reasonable amount of profit off of it, like other places are doing, then it probably wouldn't be $25+ trillion.
Paul, the Bible clearly states Israel should be supported, protect the nation, and protected, and the nation shall be blessed. Please explain. No, the Bible doesn't say that, Paul. The Bible never says that about Israel. The Bible says that about the descendants of Abraham. That's Genesis 15, Genesis 12. And it doesn't say that the Israelis should be unilaterally supported every time they do evil things. That's not what the scripture says. Secondly, in Galatians 3-5, Paul goes out of his way to say that those who believe are the descendants of Abraham in the fulfillment of that promise. And in Romans chapter 2, Paul says, a man is not a Jew by birth only. And then in Romans chapter 9, Paul says, it is not all Israel who are Israel. So to try to use the Bible to support the geopolitical state of modern-day Israel established in 1948 is, I'm sorry, an incorrect way to use the Bible. So that's why I don't support Israel unilaterally.
Yeah, RC. When healthcare is for the people and not for profit, things will be better. Yeah, that's true.
Well, look, the seed is Jesus. I agree to Death. I agree. They burn our flags in the streets because we don't cover our women and bow down to Allah. It's a known fact. So what, Matthias? That's their perspective. That doesn't mean we need to kill them. We should not kill them for that. People are allowed to not like our country. Go ahead. Pick that up, babe. People are allowed to not like our country.
No, I don't miss my job as a CNA. Not at all.
Becky in the house.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
What's up?
I have a question that's completely off topic.
Okay.
But I've got a big problem with the IRS, and I'm wondering how you guys think, do you guys think that we need reform with IRS?
I don't really have an opinion.
I don't have enough
honestly,
information about the IRS to know if we need reform. So I wouldn't really be able to speak on that.
Matthias, the people that orchestrated 9/11 were Saudis, who are currently our allies. It was not Iranians. There were no Iranians on the planes in 9/11. What are you talking about? Those are Shia, by the way, and the people that did it to us were Sunni. So on like two levels, you're blaming people for 9/11 who literally had nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Yeah, sorry, Becky. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on the IRS because, to me, honestly, they're the least of our troubles at this point.
Yeah, until you have to pay ridiculous amounts of money.
Well, I mean, we do.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Sorry for hitting a nerve, but should you not stand up for those who are weaker than you? I believe the U.S. are the leaders of the free world, and they are also their protectors. Glenn, the reason that I speak out against U.S. aggression is because I'm standing up for people who are weaker than us, namely the Iraqis, who we have disintegrated into the sands of the Middle East. Glenn, a conservative estimate is that we have killed 250,000 civilians in Iraq since 9/11. What are you talking about? How are we the protectors and the leaders of the free world when we're killing all these kids? I have no understanding. What is going on here? Ugh, what in the world?
Oh, when do we
Here's Tejas. You blame all Saudis for 9/11, but don't blame all Iranians for what they do. No, Rob, I do not blame all Saudis for 9/11. If I blamed all Saudis for 9/11, I would say we need to bomb Saudi Arabia. I don't. I was simply pointing out that all the attackers of 9/11 were Saudi and that they were not Iranians. That's all I said. How can Republicans oppose Medicare for All when Medicare for All is literally cutting out all the middlemen, making it even more profitable? Isn't it a net win for the capitalists too? I agree, Ben. I have no idea why. I just think it's an ideological thing.
Becky, read the comment section because it seems like there's quite a few people in here who have some opinion on the IRS.
Here's Tejas. I seriously doubt all those Iraqis were kids. Right. It was also the parents of these kids that we also killed, Rob.
Right.
What the hell does that have to do with anything? Unbelievable.
Well, I think that sometimes people get separated from the actual human beings that are involved in these situations. They're just numbers and names and not actual people.
My point was Iranians are just as bad. Nobody's as bad as Americans. Nobody has raised more hell on earth in the last 20 years than Americans. This is a person who loves America, who's willing to give my life for America, and who has family members who've done the same thing. But make no mistake, we are responsible for the majority of the dead bodies in the Middle East for the last 20 years. This idea that the Iranians are bad and we're good is insane to me. Do you know you have the same God in Christianity and Islam? No, we don't. The Quran goes out of its way to say that, by the way. Here's Rob Tejas. Most were combatants. It's dishonest to call them women and children. Rob Tejas, please go ahead and get me the source that says the 250 plus civilians that we killed. They're called civilians to differentiate themselves from combatants. Please get me the data that backs up what you're saying. This is the thing that kills me about Americans. We are killing innocent people all over the planet. We invaded their country. First of all, even if they were shooting back, doesn't matter because we're invading their country. If somebody invaded our country, if somebody went into your house and killed everybody in your house and somebody shot you in the midst of that, nobody would feel sorry for you. So, sorry, Rob, but this is insane what we're talking about here. We're talking about us being superior militarily to a group of people who stood no chance against us, and we've killed bunches of them wholesale. What in the world? What do Americans expect people to do? You're going to go into somebody's country and expect them to just lay down and bow to you? Which most of them did, and we still killed them anyway. Unbelievable. All right, Rob, I'm done talking to you. I can't talk to you, but we're talking about innocent human life here. Good night. It's the big homie Dan Pogmore. What's up, buddy? Talk to me. Dan!
Hello? I cannot hear you.
Salam alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's up? Can you hear me?
Hang on. See if I can fix it.
Vin's already laying traps.
Goodbye.
I'm not laying any traps. Ugh. Well, that's fine, Paul. I don't need you to respect me.
I don't understand what you said that would have
Paul's a
caused that.
dispensationalist. He believes that we should unilaterally support Israel. So that was his response to me pointing out the Bible, blowing up his pro-Israel stuff. So instead of quoting the Bible again and saying, well, no, you're wrong here, that's how he responds, because he has nothing to say, because he obviously...
Okay.
Yeah.
No, nobody has been called the little homie. We've only had big homies. Yes, that's Oreo.
Here's Ben. Drinking straight from the jug. Proof Ben is single.
Vin is single.
Vin is single, yeah.
You know what's funny? That is something that I definitively put my foot down on that nobody would ever do around me.
What?
Drink straight from the bottle, but for some reason it doesn't bug me when you do it. But we have a small fridge, actually, that the patrons got for us in our bedroom, and that's where that comes from. So if somebody comes to our house and they drink from our regular refrigerator, they're not going to get Vin's backwash.
Hey!
I'll bring the little chubby here so you can see him.
Hey! Hello! Hello! Dan!
Hey, is it working?
Yep, it's working.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello!
Hello?
You're literally siding with all the Middle East except for Israel. Paul, I never said that. I simply said that the attempt from dispensationalists to try to blackmail us with the Bible to supporting the Israelis unilaterally is unbiblical on a bunch of different levels. And I gave you scriptures and references for why that is so. That's what I said. I never said I support all of the Middle East against Israel. I never said that. What I said was, we need to mind our own business. That's what I said.
He's just going to be in for a couple of minutes. He keeps standing. He's standing a whole bunch.
How about we support peace instead of taking sides? Sadaqt, correct. How about we do that? Give that baby a Trump hat.
Don't put it in your mouth.
No, don't eat that.
It's all natural.
Good thing it's all natural, but it's gross. Don't eat it.
And now that makes the whole stream. Yes. He's very happy. He's been hanging out with Dorian and Zoe, crawling all over them.
Hello? Can you hear me through this one?
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Who is that white kid's father? I have a strange Aryan driving to this child.
I know, right? I said to Kylie when he was born, I'm like, shit. Sori's been sneaking around. I said, that kid's too white. What's going on?
He's got blue eyes too, mashallah. What's up, buddy?
Oh, no. Okay, so a couple of quick questions. With some of the, rhetoric and stuff that's been going on, just a bit of a change of pace. So, Messiah, what do you think of it? Do you think it was well written? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I thought there was a lot more that they could do. I hope Netflix gives them another season. So that's what I hope.
The way it ended, I kind of thought it was it. The way that it ended, I kind of thought it's a one-season wonder.
I don't know. I hope they do a season 2, because it kind of left it as there are way too many things open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I liked about it. It was always, questioning, is he, isn't he? It was pretty... It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, they put enough there to where, like, if you were a person who wanted to believe in him and thought he was legit, you could. But there is also, when you talk about his family background and things like that, there is enough to where...
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
There was enough doubt.
Yeah. So, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good, and I think they picked like the cast. I think the cast was perfect. Most of them were unknowns, and I really enjoyed the acting, which is pretty good for a recent TV show, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but the Jesus person that they chose matches Muhammad's description of Jesus in the Hadith, like, perfectly. So,
well, I mean, he would have been Middle Eastern, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't spoil the show. I said he left it on. Oh, okay, we can't talk about Messiah anymore. What's next?
No, we're talking about it. This is a Vin and Dan show. You don't like it? Fucking mute yourself.
You're terrible.
Yeah, I know. But, okay, so now that we're sort of past that and there was a bit of a change of pace, do you think the stuff with Iran is all just a big show? Like that the missiles were bullshit? Do you think if missiles were actually fired at American bases, the US would stand for it?
I think, well, I don't think us killing Soleimani was a show. That was real.
No. I mean, do you think if there was missiles fired at an American base at anywhere on the planet, that America wouldn't immediately retaliate?
Well, I think there's context, right? So we've got, and Trump said it, so, I mean, we've got early warning systems, right? So here's my thing. Here's what I've been saying over and over again. There's 100,000 Shia militants in Iraq. Mm-hmm. If the Iranians truly wanted to hurt us, they would send those guys over there. And those guys were motivated because they loved Soleimani.
Well, this is more speaking to my point, why I think it's all just a show when there was no missiles fired at all.
Well, I mean, we didn't see any video of the wreckage, right? The issue is that those guys have to save face. We just slap them in the face in front of everybody. It's just like in high school. Somebody slaps you in the face and your boy, yo, you gonna let them do that to you? So the Iranians talked all this trash, and then they went, look, bro, even if they shot those missiles, we've got early warning systems. We were out of there. If they really wanted to hurt us, they could have. They didn't. It's obvious. They did it.
Yeah, and that's what makes me think it's bullshit.
Well, yeah,
because
it was
if anything was like the way the whole America, the whole Trump thing, is if there was missiles actually fired, then it would have been on.
Right.
You know, like, yeah.
Right.
So to me, it just looks like bullshit, and it's just all staged so Iran can save face.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but then Trump, of course, you know, we're gonna hit 52 of your sites, blah 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 blah. You know, that's why I said from the beginning.
Do you know what would happen though? Like if Iran, I think if Iran truly attacked us and America retaliated, it would unite the Middle East.
I don't think it would. And the reason,
you don't think it would unite the Middle East against America?
No,
I think it would, man.
No, because of the Shia Sunni divide. I mean, ISIS just today released a statement basically thanking Trump for taking out Soleimani. So as I've been saying, the main target from ISIS was not Jews, Christians, or Americans. The main victims of ISIS were Shia Muslims. So it would not do that. All that would happen is that the Sunni Salafists would celebrate and they would go in there and fill that vacuum. But keep in mind, the Sunni and the Shia, I mean, that's why you had Hezbollah, you had Iran, you had all these groups fighting ISIS with us 3 years ago. Because ISIS was a Sunni Salafist
weren't the Taliban
group.
And shit like that funded and trained by America?
No, the Taliban rose up even before the Russian incursion. But again, the Taliban are a Sunni Salafist Wahhabi group. And so those are the guys in Afghanistan. But we were funding them by proxy very much the same way that the Russians were funding the Viet Cong when we were in Vietnam and got stuck in that quagmire.
I am not in a timeout, you weirdo.
What was the deal with the supposed guy that was the mastermind behind the Twin Towers?
Ben Laden?
Wasn't he? Bin Laden, yeah. Wasn't he an American operative?
I mean,
wasn't he trained? There's something, like if funded or trained, or there was a connection somewhere.
Well, again, what we do when we have countries who are fighting other countries that we don't like is we send in the CIA and Green Berets to train these people. We have countries, and then we get them. Countries that we don't
like. Sorry, I'm trying to be able to get in the chat.
We get them more training and more weapons and train them in tactics so that they could be more efficient killers of the people that we don't like, right? So in that respect, yeah, but we were not the main force behind the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Afghanistan and Islam itself has a very long history of that type of battle.
Yeah. Okay, so one more thing before I let you go. Now, with all the fires going on over here, right? Most of the coast of Australia is on fire at the moment, if people don't know about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk on, the American NBC and things like that about it being mainly to do with climate change.
Yeah.
So I just want to put some things into perspective for the people that believe that shit. That's complete rubbish. It's got nothing to do with climate change. Basically, what's been happening is since Scott Morrison's been in power, he completely neutered and withdrew half of the funding that our fireys were getting. So this is why you're seeing millions of dollars in donations. It was started by Pink. She donated $1 million or $500,000, something along those lines, to the Australian firefighters. Then Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban donated a bunch of money, and you've seen celebrity after celebrity donating money. And yeah, it's basically to fund the firefighters to help out with the situation. I think America sent 30 firefighters over here to help out with the stuff that's going on. But yeah, it was basically generally every year we backburn because we know how hot it gets in summer, and with the easterlies coming through, the winds, how bad the fires can be. And we didn't backburn because we didn't have the funding. So over the last 12 months, it's just overgrown, and whooshka, this is what happens.
Yeah.
And then you get idiot pyromaniacs that go around deliberately lighting fires as well, which has caused a lot of it.
Yeah, I definitely, and everybody knows where I stand with climate change, but the climate change people definitely took this as a opportunity to,
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not a climate change denier.
Right,
I'm just saying
we're both in the
same
same place on this particular situation, which is this is not a climate change issue. That's not what happened here with the Australian fires. So they just opportunistically jumped on this to try to make it that. But the fact of the matter is that's not what's happening here in this particular situation, I think is what you're saying. And if that is what you're 100%. Saying, I agree with you. I agree with you for sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to enlighten people because the shit on the news is wrong. So, yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
But, all right. I've taken up enough of your time. Take it easy. Much love.
See you tomorrow, big homie.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Look, you guys don't have to be nice to me. It's okay. You can call me and say what you want to me. This is a free speech environment. I'm not mad at you if you think I'm crazy or silly or stupid. You can just let it fly. Just don't insult anybody else in the forum. But yeah, you can go after me all you want. There's a dead pixel somewhere. I know. It is. I keep hearing dead pixel in the camera and all that.
There is. Yeah. It's like it always comes
up
somewhere.
Where is it? How do you fix it? We had to get a new camera?
Probably. I don't know. Did we get some kind of a plan on that thing?
What's up, Michael Strike?
Maybe we did. Maybe we can get it fixed. I don't know.
I swear that sounds like Andy Marsh from Nyada's Murder.
Oh, murder.
Dan completed a fireside call without Vin framing him as a racist. Hey!
You guys won't believe me, but a car sideswiped me because the sun got in the other driver's eye. Climate change is real.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Look, man, that's why I say, like, people don't have to be nice to me in these comment sections, man, because if that's how you see it, that's how you see it. You can't be mad at people for saying their opinion. How dare you?
Someone said that you have a Jesus beard. Lori poo.
I'm a supporter of you, Vin. I don't want to hate you. You're allowed to have your views. I simply disagree with you. Doesn't mean being civil is out the door. I have friends that agree with you. Well, that's good. Matthias, I appreciate that.
The only good pixel is a dead pixel.
Terrible. I still think you're wrong, Vin.
Yep, wrong.
What am I wrong about? That it's bad to kill innocent people?
Oh, Seth said that you're a poop head. How nice. And they said that I was on a timeout.
Have you met the Bizarro version of Vin yet?
They said you gave me a death stare. Did you do such a thing?
The Bizarro version of Vin was Vin about 10 years ago. Well, not even 10 years ago.
You must have, since you're just ignoring me. Hello?
6 years ago. What happened?
Someone said you gave me a death stare.
No, I didn't give you a death stare. That's a love stare. They just don't know.
That's intense, I guess. Hello from Brazil. William, what's up? Yeah, we're having a good evening. We're all sick here. Our house is disgusting. But we're alive, so... I know Nathan, he's so cute. I can't stand it sometimes. I just want to...
He's a beautiful brother. For sure. For sure.
Munch him.
I wish you didn't take things so personal. I agree it's bad to kill innocent people.
When I was pulling up...
No, I do take that personally. Because I've seen dead innocent people. Have you? I take that very, very personally. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing. You ever seen a mom say, "Where's my kid?" and you know her kid's dead? You ever seen that situation happen? Then we have space cadets like Rob Tejas saying, well, those guys, I mean, some of those guys were combatants. They deserved it. No, I'm going to take that personal because I'm a human being. I'm not going to lose my humanity. And I'm not going to talk about these people as if they're chess pieces on a board. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Apparently, you gave me the death stare when I brought
Honey,
Why
are you talking about that?
Because I guess you did it when I brought it up on my phone.
Brought what up?
And then it started talking, and then you're like, ugh. And X said, "Don't believe you because he cheats at Monopoly."
Oh boy, the Iranians are the ones to blame for the plane crash. All right, our president has no culpability whatsoever.
Making teeth? You're making teeth? Interesting. Do a good job. Make sure they're the right shade of white.
Damn, Austin, that's terrible.
Why wouldn't they let you see her? I don't understand.
Well, yeah.
No! To death. How exciting! Has anyone sent Sori a white knight chess piece in the mail yet?
Overshadow Sean. Well, Dan, we've had lots of discussions without arguing. What are you talking about? You're one of the people I talk to the most. You just haven't done it on a fireside. All these people who make light of the death of anyone have likely lived pretty cushy lives. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. For sure. For sure.
That would be perfect for Vin, Pony. Oh, gosh, Austin, that's terrible. Are you taking calls right now?
Sure. Speaker. Hello!
Hold on a second.
He calls me and then he puts me on hold. How real is that? That's some gangster shit right there. You just hold on a second. Hold on, I'm trying to get you on speaker here, so the rest of the beautiful community.
I was trying to get the door unlocked because someone just came home.
What's up, Nathan of the Village?
So, yeah, I was just saying, like, can we please talk about metal now?
Go ahead, bring up metal.
Well, I want to cover a little bit of a couple different subjects, but this one I wanted to talk a little about metal and say that, you know what, I honestly think that, like, the sort of new age, like, extreme heavy metal, like black metal and death metal, there's a definite disconnect that really irritates me from, like, the classic formula. You know?
What do you mean? No, I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about, bro.
All like the rapid staccato string nonsense and the weird extreme vocals. It's like, how did we get from like Black Sabbath, Maiden, and Armored Saint to, well, this? How is it even the same thing?
Well, it's not the same thing, and I think that's the point, right? Like, if you have too much of the same thing, then people get bored. So you want something different to mix it up.
Well, that's true. I'm just saying that, like, how can you say it's part of the same continuum of genres when they're like fire and ice? They're completely different.
Yeah, I'm not certain exactly how different they are. It just seems that black metal is they emphasize certain things more than, you know, the standard classical metal would be. But, you know, I love Iron Maiden. I get very excited every time there's an Iron Maiden song that we have to review. But I think my favorite band of last year had to be... Why can't I think today? I have no idea. It's probably
I don't know. Everybody's... Probably that drink you had that...
Yeah.
It's supposed to help with the gym.
I forgot my...
Maybe coming down with something.
My favorite black metal band, Magua. Magua is my favorite band of last year. So, I mean, I think it all depends. I think evolution of music is good, though. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Sounds like the name from the Brazilian jungle or something.
Possibly.
I'm trying to keep it under 2 hours.
Kind of sounds a bit Amazonian to me. I don't know. I speak a couple different languages, but I do not speak Amazonian.
I see.
How many languages?
Well, okay. Technically, I'm still kind of diving into German and a touch of Dutch, and I speak a touch of Latin.
There you go.
Okay.
So what I kind of cringe when I go around the internet, I see people saying Deus Vult and using it like in the wrong context. I find that slightly annoying. But then again, a lot of things annoy me. I'm very irritable. Speaking of irritation,
go ahead.
I am annoyed. I am annoyed with the Republicans because, like, when it comes to the idea of small government and non-intervention, they're basically controlled opposition. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. They're liars.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that thinks that the Republicans are non-interventionists, you know,
they're a fool.
I mean, good night. I think they...
And 9/11 does not have to have been an inside job for the government to use it as an excuse to create things like the Patriot Act or the TSA. Freedom? What's that? I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah. I'm with you. Don't you have a channel now?
I had my commentary channel, but political commentary is very time-consuming sometimes, and I needed the extra time to put it aside for a while to sort of get my life in order.
Yeah.
But I will be resuming the channel briefly in the form of a song react channel. I'm going to have a new playlist called Song Snob Reacts to, da-da-da-da-da. I just put out my first video of that yesterday.
So you're the song snob?
I'm kind of a music snob. I'm an eclectic listener, though. I listen to all kinds of different things, but I am a snob when it comes to my music. I am a definite snob.
I could kind of tell that based on the first thing that you said. All right, Nate.
What was the first thing I said?
Where you're going after black metal.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. It was good talking to you, man. Have a good one.
Right.
Bye.
Somebody said, "Why are Americans so religious? Don't you have science?" I don't really believe that people really think that anybody who believes in God just has we're science doesn't prove or disprove anything, brother. All science does is tell us how the world works. What does that have to do with whether or not God exists? I mean, science hasn't explained to us the origin of conscience or consciousness or life or anything of that nature. And it's not designed to do those things. So, what a strange thing to say.
So you're too late now. You were trying to get off before 2 hours so you could get this on the Middle America channel?
Yeah. It's too late to apologize.
I might still be able to get it, but Zoe said for me to ask you if you wouldn't mind wrapping it up.
What?
I said, what? She goes, yeah, can you just ask Dad if he could just wrap it up in there?
For what?
Oh, because she wants you to do the man study so then she can watch the show with me and eat ice cream.
Oh, I see.
Wrap it up. Who says that to their parent? Our kids, apparently.
Yeah, our kids are raised in a very unorthodox fashion, so they believe they can say things like wrap it up to their own parents.
And not get some Jamaican reaction. A what?
Yeah.
I wonder why so many doctors are Christian. Are they?
Yeah. All these Christian doctors, they didn't believe in science. They just read the Bible all through med school. Sean, send Zonia an email. Zonia, please reach out to Overshadow Sean. I am not responsible for the Bible boogies. I am just a servant. Okay? So I'm not responsible for the Bible boogies. So I'm not the guy to ask about that. How long have you been playing guitar? I got a guitar when I was 18. I play it off and on. There've been whole years where I haven't touched a guitar because I was busy doing other stuff. Yo, Vin, tell them Zonia had the best spiel of all time on science. I actually screenshotted it. And if I can find it, that would be great. Because it was literally the best thing I've ever heard of all time on science.
Really?
Yeah. I forgot where she put it, and I screenshotted it, but I screenshot so much stuff that I can't find it. Is it here? No. Zonia, where is it? No. I have way too many pictures here. I'm going to find it, though. Hector, come on. Vin, you bench press giant Bibles. Yes, of course. Did you see? Yeah. You sent me the videos of Gia playing the guitar. She's probably better than me right now. I really appreciate you, Vin, because your take on faith and what you just said about the idea of consciousness has led me back towards Christianity. Whoa, Ayamire, that's cool, wow. Man. I really, really appreciate that. You get the news that a Batushka member is under critical surgery? No, Julian, I would have expected that one of my friends would have told me that.
Wow.
What the hell? No, but I'll be praying for the big homie. Is Zonia still anarchistic? I'm pretty certain that Zonia is probably more anarchistic now than before, but Zonia's in the forum, so she'll tell you. I think the fact that Vin is so fond of this rant of Zonia's might prove Zonia is a Riri.
Yeah, I didn't understand what that was. I read that. I was like, I wonder what that word means.
What is a Riri? Well, I don't know what that is. Bernie, Tulsi, and Gabbard cannot campaign during the impeachment trial. Yeah. I've heard that. The first person that kind of brought that angle to me was Isabella Jimenez. But it's true. As long as this impeachment stuff is going, Bernie, Tulsi, and Gabbard kind of have to kind of be in and out.
Yeah, overshadow at the beginning of the stream.
Should atheists practice astral projection to prove there's a spiritual realm? No. Look, there are some... Look. So, there's this guy, right? And he was convinced that he was an android. And so his whole family was like, bro, you're not an android. He's like, I'm telling you, I'm an android. So they finally brought him to this psychologist. And the psychologist said, you're not an android. So they're going back and forth for an hour. And then, so finally the psychologist says, okay, can androids bleed? The guy goes, no, androids cannot bleed. So the guy takes out a little pin and pricks him. And then wouldn't you know it, all this blood comes out, right? So the psychologist is smiling. And then he looks at the guy and says, what about now? And then the guy goes, okay, I was wrong. So his whole family is sighing in relief. They go, yes. And the guy goes, I guess androids can bleed. Which basically points out stand by. Oh, look, a commercial. It's all part of the simulation. Okay. Which basically points out that if you have a presupposition and you're committed to it, there's no amount of evidence that's going to convince you otherwise. If you want to believe something, you will. And if you want to not believe something, you also will. So the astral projection stuff in my mind would not settle the issue if a person wants to be an atheist. You
want to know which part of the Bible we can disregard? I said the little paper that separates the Old and New Testament. That's it.
What do you think about the tobacco age being raised to 21? I think it's.
Are you serious? Who's doing that?
What?
Is that all over the place that they're raising the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Trump did that. 21.
That's... Seriously, well, how old do you have to be to join the military?
Well, that's exactly the thing. You know, it's like... But would you support the drinking age being reduced to 18?
Well, I heard that in places where it's legal a lot earlier, there's not so much abuse of it because it's just kind of normalized. It's not like this, ooh, when I become an adult, I can go drink. I don't know. I mean, if that's really true, then...
Dark apocalypse. Yes, I agree with you. Not every Republican is a nationalist. I agree. As a matter of fact, I don't believe that most Americans are nationalists in the pejorative sense. I believe that nationalism in the pejorative sense is a very small branch of our populace. So what you're saying is very well stated. I agree with that. Thoughts on outer darkness? Outer darkness, if you're talking about the biblical term, outer darkness is the place in the universe where people go who want no relationship with God and have made it their life's work to resist all of God's benevolent overtures to them.
Overshadow Sean, I've never smoked and I dream of smoking. That's weird.
Trump lowered the military age to 7. That's a good one. That's a very, very good one. Science is our best methodology for knowledge. Evolution is not compatible with Adam and Eve. I mean, says you. I mean, there's this thing called theistic evolution. Go to biologos.com. Christianity is a lot more variegated than you guys realize. So life is not just as simple as science versus religion. Keep in mind, we're the ones that gave the world a scientific method. We're also the ones that gave the world gravity, etc., etc.
Hospitals.
Astronomy. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Here you go, Mikhail.
10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes. That's the Democrats' outer darkness. You're terrible. Then I guess I live in the outer darkness. Well, you don't have to, Nathan. Come into the light, sir. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, then we have fellowship with his son. Da-da-da-da-da. I come from a Christian family, but I personally don't believe in it. I wish I did. I wish you did too, brother.
Try to seriously do 10 minutes because we still have to record. Is YouTube your full-time job? No, Vin works more than a full-time job on the side. And I do the homeschooling and stuff for our 5 children. Well, only 4 of them are in school right now, but it's still a lot of homeschooling.
I try to believe in God, but he hates me.
Oh, well, the good news is you don't know him because he doesn't hate you.
Alcohol prohibition required an amendment to the Constitution that doesn't appear to be required anymore. Well, I don't think that raising the age is necessarily a prohibition. So that's probably how they got around it. Jesus is the most metal person who ever lived. I agree, Overshadow Sean, 100%.
Yes.
Later, T-Waz. Very, very glad to be talking to you, my guy. Trump is orange. I don't really understand why a guy with that type of money doesn't recognize the...
I know.
I don't understand it.
I know. Well, sometimes, like, I remember... If I ever come across one of the pictures, I'll show it to you. You'll be shocked. I was going to the tanning booth, and I thought I wasn't dark enough. And I remember people saying, "You're getting really dark." And I was like, "No, I didn't think that I was dark." Well, anyway, I went to visit my my sister in college, and somebody was like, "Oh, I didn't know you had a black sister." Like, I had gone like that dark. I didn't realize that I was probably like your color. I didn't realize how dark I was. Now I look back at the pictures, I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So maybe he doesn't realize. You know what I mean? Like, he's acclimated to it so much that he thinks it looks good.
Probably. Would God forgive an atheist? God is more... First of all, God has forgiven millions of atheists already. And secondly, God is more willing to forgive than we are to be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. If God exists, why did he make me an atheist? That seems like a pretty big mistake. Well, Ben Webb... we're just looking at one chapter in the amazing book that is the story of your life, Mr. Webb. So we don't know what's happening in the next chapter. Tomorrow, you could wake up and become the most awesome Christian of all time. And then you being an atheist for the first half of your life would make a ton of sense, right? Do you support right-wing black metal nationalism? No.
Vin thought he married a black woman. Then I stopped going to the tanning booth.
Too much horror in the world for there to be a God, it would seem. I would say that the fact that you recognize that something is wrong with the world indicates that something should be right. That there's a standard of good that we're not attaining to, which is only intelligible if there is a God in the universe. Were Neanderthals also children of God? I don't know. I know that it says Adam and Eve were created in the image and likeness of God. I think we can all agree they were Homo sapiens, and you're a Homo sapien. So the only pertinent question for you would be, are you in the image of God? And the answer is yes. Now be reconciled to your Maker.
Whoa.
In case somebody hasn't asked you to yet, how did you feel about the delay of game stuff during the Titans-Patriots game? Sure it did. Well, Runeblade, I'm a massive Patriots fan, but the idea that Belichick got upset because somebody had familiarized themselves to that degree with the rule book is quite funny, because that's one of the ways that Belichick has cemented his legend. So I thought it was pretty poetic that, and again, I'm a massive Patriots fan, but the end of our dynasty came at the hands of a guy that used to play for us and who manipulated the rule book to eke out a victory. Good for him. Hats off to Vrabel.
Mikhail, the 666 thing, I'm assuming that you're being hyperbolic there and saying that you have it tattooed on your head. But that's actually a common misconception. It's not like that there's going to be like a tattoo that's like on their head and on their hand. But instead, that's actually talking about everything that you do, everything you're thinking about, and everything you put your hands to do is all about, it's either for God or it's not for God. So God could care less if you put a 666 on your forehead. Like, that's not a make it or break it at all.
Why do you choose to approach troubles on the political level as Christians? Change does not come from our opinions on politics, but what we actually do and how we behave. Well, Sarcast, the reason is because the way that we act is not disconnected from the way that we think. From a biblical perspective, the scripture tells us, as a man thinks, so he is. And so we're told scripturally to not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of our minds. And the term repentance is metanoia, which literally means to change the mind. And so the reductionist idea of just focusing on actions instead of focusing on ideas, I think, is a mistake. Much of the discussion that we have with our children is not action-based, but is motive-based. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot to our kids about what's their motive, why they're doing what they're doing. We're not so much focused on what they do, but we are focused on what they do, but the deeper focus is why they're doing what they're doing. I want my kids to do the right things for the right reasons.
Yep.
And that's the rub. And so that's why I think it is important, especially in the internet age, to put out contrary ideas to the current zeitgeist that we have, so that we can act rightly. So that's why it's important. Yo, this guy looks like a meatball. Okay.
Oh, you're very handsome. What is he talking about?
Wore my middle shirt to my son's boot camp graduation today. Oh, 7 Dustin. That's legit.
Did you get a picture?
Your influence on kids is immediate. Your channel, however, is very different. Well, I mean, if you could see the emails that we get on a weekly basis, Sarcast, you might have a different idea. Mm-hmm. I agree. The influence on my children are immediate. Nobody in this forum is my child. We're all learning from each other. But again, a lot of the things that happen in this world are ideologically based. You don't get people ramming planes into buildings. Mm-hmm. Without ideologies, and you don't get Americans justifying 250,000 people killed without ideologies. Ideologies are part and parcel of why we are in the trouble that we're in the world.
Sori, do you feel like family at the Olive Garden? What? What is that, like their ad?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. You know, like some of those things, like they'll do, like they make it. They have like a big thing. It might be their ad. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know. It's a are you supposed to feel like family at the Olive Garden?
You know, some of them, they try to make it look like it's all about that. I don't know. Yeah, Robert, that's the idea. Yeah.
What is living a good life? From my understanding, Paul made that impossible. Well, it depends on how you how you define good life. Mr. Tejas, in response to the 250,000 civilians, you responded by saying, well, some of those guys were fighting. That is making light of their deaths, in my opinion. Because you neglected to point out that, number one, they were civilians, which by nature means that they're not fighting. And number two, you also neglected to point out that even if they were fighting to maintain their homeland against people who were invading them.
No, Pony, I'm still fighting with Teespring about it.
Yeah. Why do people assume it's the end of our dynasty? Probably because Brady is 42 years old. And we lost in the first round at home to a team that were 14 points. That might be it. I'm guessing you believe that Steve Jobs didn't create Apple. That's hilarious. It was the government.
Get your Middle America mug. Great Valentine's gift.
Great old one. Do me a favor and source me that information about 1 billion people being killed in the name of God. I know a lot of people who are suffering right now in the atheist Republic of China for their religious beliefs, but please show me that. Please tackle this question. A lot of Muslims have been reacting to the Netflix show Messiah by saying it can only be about Dajjal. It was almost a reflex, although it's fictional. Well, Dajjal is and this is actually reflected in the show itself, where there was like a divide. Dajjal in the Muslim context, and Dajjal is supposed to have like there are certain physical features about Dajjal that Jesus in the Netflix show does not have. He's supposed to have a symbol on his forehead that says kafir, that only the believers can see. His eye's supposed to be messed up. He's supposed to have a certain type of nose, etc., etc. So on that level, from a technical perspective, no Muslim should call that guy Dajjal. But the fact that this guy in the show kind of goes between a Christian version of Messiah versus the Islamic version of Messiah. The fact that this guy is super peaceful. The Messiah is actually supposed to be a warrior from the Muslim perspective when he comes back. The other thing about the Muslim Messiah is that there is a guy that comes before him called the Mahdi. And the Mahdi basically functions as a guy that unifies the Muslims. But Dajjal is supposed to go across the world, kill everybody, nobody can stop him, and then Jesus comes down, and Jesus is the only person that can stop Dajjal. Can stop Dajjal, yeah. So Dajjal actually hits the ground before the Messiah does. And so there's a whole lot of, from a technical perspective, especially on the Sunni side, where to call the Messiah figure in that show Dajjal makes sense only because there wasn't a previous Antichrist on the ground when he showed up, right? So again, in Islamic eschatology, Dajjal, the Antichrist, has to show up first, and then Isa comes, and the Dajjal is a deceiver, and of course this guy's got the entire world following him. And so from that perspective, then he would have to necessarily be the Antichrist, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Do I think China is the next empire? No, I do not. I do not. I think it is time now for
us to bid you adieu.
For a man study with the boys.
Oh no! And then what we're gonna record after that?
Yeah. Any advice to a 20-year-old just starting out in life? I'm dealing with relationship troubles and it's causing major depression. My guy. I think a lot of times we look for people to. Yeah, that's because of you.
Pretty sure it was because he sends, but.
Okay, so I think that people get into relationships.
No, this poor man.
I know. Okay, try again. I think people get into relationships to try to fill some sort of gap that they have inside of themselves, and it puts a lot of pressure on both sides. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about on both sides. And so I think it's kind of cliche, but it's one of those things where sometimes you need to kind of get alone and work on yourself and figure out where those gaps are and why they're there. And you'll be in a much more healthy position to be in a more functional relationship, I think. So that's what I would say. I think it's very rare that a healthy person can be sent into a major depression by a relationship. Usually those relationships highlight certain problems that were pre-existent prior to that. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, and I think that if if you or the person that you're seeing struggles with mental illness, that can also put a strain. And if you two are the two of you are not married, then you might want to say, how often is this? Sometimes people are not compatible, and you're trying to make something work that's really not working for you or for them, and it can just kind of make a really terrible environment. But that's kind of one of those things where you'd have to be privy to the information to know whether it's the case there for you or not. But
yeah, and Sarcast, a lot of people's eschatology or understanding of the end of the world is highly pessimistic. We've got a very, very optimistic one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think a lot of people have been conditioned that if somebody comes and tries to get the world together, that they're the bad guy. Yeah, there's a lot of evangelicals are like that. The minute they see somebody coming trying to get everybody, they go, "Oh, that guy's bad." So I think a lot of us have just been preconditioned, religiously speaking, into global conflict, and they believe that global conflict and bloodshed is going to be something that is an inevitable kind of state of the world. We don't believe that, but a lot of people do, and so that's why. So I guess you're against the war in Iraq. I'm against any killing of innocent people. So there you go.
I've been subbed to this channel since the beginning and no one cares.
Who said that?
Clint Logan.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate everybody.
No. The funny question is, okay, when did we start?
March 2018.
Stop! Why would you tell him?
Oh.
That was the thing, because remember we'd have people that were like, I've been here for a year. We were like, we've only been doing this for 2 months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, babe.
Is this still live? Yes, Paul Coletti, it's still live.
It's about to not be, though.
No one ever thinks they're the bad guy or the ones who are wrong. That's true. Any American justifying the Iraq War, I think that's a good diagnosis.
Oh, yes, we will, Ultimate Musings. Now that I know it's there.
I've never seen Sori's feet, and you probably never will, Casual Mayhem.
I just found out people have, foot fetishes. I didn't realize that was a thing.
What is the word y'all use when someone has passed away? The Ainsof. 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 Vin never acknowledges me.
Pony, I can't even think about it because there's so many atrocities in the world that are bothering me that it bought the whales and the dolphins and all that stuff. That's why I didn't like going to zoos or any of those types of things. It very much bothers me, but I feel like I don't have the emotional capacity right now to deal with the dolphins when, that plane just went down and all those families are dealing with that. Ugh.
Did you invest in some new weapons, Vin? I did not. It would have made me some money though, but I refuse. Not taking part as much as I can in the military-industrial complex.
Sorry, does Vin's facts drive you crazy? No, it doesn't drive me crazy. I actually love it. But there are some times where I'm like, can we just talk about
what drives you crazy?
Your facts, all your information stuff.
Oh.
Sometimes I'm like, can we just focus, let's just talk about us instead of the world. Because you're so world conscious. But no, his facts are great. I think it's sexy, but it's sometimes I'm like, okay, wait. Oh no, another tragedy, Vin. Don't be sad. Just let's have a good day.
Yeah. Well, I did pretty good a couple nights ago.
Well, I knew something was up. I was like, what's wrong with you? You wouldn't talk about it. I was like, okay.
I've been coming here for 30 years and I demand respect. Ainsof, the term,
Casual Mayhem.
The meaning of limitless light and things like that is a very, very beautiful conception of God to me. No innocent person who dies is going to hell. All right.
Sir Resin, we don't believe that animals were made in the image of God or have the same value as a human being. So, no, we should be more concerned about human beings dying than the captive whales. But I tell the kids this all the time. I said, I think that the respect and like honor that we give the person that we give the most respect and honor to, I think that that's the amount of respect that we should be giving to the animals, and that the respect that we give for people is nowhere near as high as it should be. Like, I don't think that we understand what it's like to be made in the image of God or treat somebody with that level of honor.
Vin, does it bother you that you are as guilty as I am for those civilian deaths in Iraq? Rob, I'm pretty certain that I'm more guilty than you are for the civilian deaths in Iraq. What does that have to do with anything? That's why Christianity has a big primer on repentance and changing your behavior and your mind.
Oh, it's all good, Glenn.
All right, I'm gonna read Zonia's thingamajiggy on science, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Not with you there at all. She's responding to somebody. Yeah. You could just read up on the subject of a field of scientific research and then declare it invalid. You can't just read up on one subject of a scientific research and then declare it invalid. That is not what science is. Hard not to go on a rant about what science is. This is very much off topic as to BM Fan's point. I'll try to be brief, but it's not a subject that lends itself to brevity. Without spending hours trying to unravel this and dig down into the many parallel fields of research that are attempting to fashion a cohesive and cogent explanation of how the natural world works, a scientific field of study is an attempt to accumulate data on patterns found within our natural world through means of empirical evidence from research and experimentation that can be reproduced by peers using verifiable prescribed steps. Science is not immutable. You don't make one discovery and hold aggressively to that one discovery for hundreds of years as though it's doctrine handed down by God. Science is a continuous research, an accumulation of information, and even a refutation of its own findings, constantly mutating and advancing forward, or sometimes disproving itself entirely and thus ending a particular thread of research altogether. Science is not final. It is not absolute, and it does not claim to have all the answers. It is a continuous attempt and effort to understand and explain the natural world using reproducible models, and continually calls itself into questions. And it does this all by using the scientific method. With a deep understanding of many fields of scientific research, chemistry, physics, quantum mechanics, astrophysics, thermodynamics, micro and macrobiology, genetics, and geology, to name a few, one can see how randomness can be a major factor in the development of coherent matter and organic life, but at the same time, there are also clearly observed systemic patterns at the quanta that appear to be random from an abstracted or macro view. Science does not claim to have answered these things or to understand them. There is no doctrine. There is nothing to say evolution is final explains life. There is nothing to say that this Big Bang happened. There is a great deal of evidence that, when considered together, will point to these possible events and systems, but nothing is absolutely certain. Heck, nothing is absolute, which, by the way, is an absolute statement. If one has the patience and the discipline to embark on a deep and detail-oriented study of many, if not all, of the aforementioned fields of scientific research, one may find these theories and proposed systems to be quite possible, but anyone who claims that they are proved or that they must be is jumping to conclusions and not being objective. Likewise, anyone who claims that they are false is doing the exact same thing. Lastly, science and religion are not mutually exclusive. Most of the advancement of science has come from people of religious faith, Christians, Judaica, Muslims, etc. We're all involved in scientific advances, and major churches have been significant contributors to the sciences. Science and religion can work hand in hand and can benefit from each other quite well, so long as you continue to remain as objective as you can in your research, and this is what the scientific method is for. Anyway, that was long-winded. Sorry about that. But that was the best understanding or delineation of my thoughts as to the interplay between science and religion I've ever seen in my entire life. So that is Zonia of the Village. I will try to take that clip and put it in the thingy for your benefit, dear listener. Save image. I'll do that. And then what I'll do is I will put that. Which computer is it? Is this Sori's computer? I'll put that in Sori's computer, and then I'm going to have to bid you beautiful people adieu. Where'd it go? Boop.
That means he'll be with you for 45.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
You just love them.
Is that your phone? I do love them. That's
love
true.
them.
Is that your phone or your computer? Oh, there it is right there. Karasev Day. Do, 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 do. You are forgiven.
Okay, it is.
Don't worry about it, Tejas.
And how are you putting this in here again?
You just drag it.
Whoa. Okay, go for it.
La ilaha illallah.
You can just put a picture up in there anyway.
La ilaha illallah.
Oh, there we go. Zonia put it.
All right, guys. I legitimately.
Hey, Zonia put the screenshot there already.
Z put the screenshot up there, so.
I don't think that's going to work.
Well, it's got that green thing there.
I know.
Do, do,
Make sure to put the right picture up in there.
do, do, do. Would you stop it? I swear, sometimes with you, you know, you invite these people to say things. And seeing as how you're the greatest victim blamer of all time, then there you go. All right. I got to get out of here. The stream, toss a coin to your Witcher. I don't know what that means.
What's the name of that show, that Witcher show? Are they saying we should watch that one?
Well, Rob, you kind of functioned as a foil for something I've been wanting to get off my chest for a long time. So I appreciate you being here. This is very useful.
Have a great night, you Mainers.
Vinny is so in love with the Arabic culture, we will witness him becoming a belly dancer one day. Stuck for a law. That'll never happen. Lori Pooh.
Post the screenshots on your Facebook, Vin. I want to share that.
Okay, I will post it. All right, I really have to go now. Love you guys. I seriously do. Love everybody. Good day.
Should I say bye now?
Good day.